Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to a new week of Force of Will news. Sorry, this one's a little bit more janky and audio is not going to be as good, and also not going to have my fancy stuff because my computer died right when I went to go film this, so hopefully that's fixed soon. Don't worry, Oscar still has a computer, so he'll be able to edit our gameplay video that'll hopefully be out tomorrow, as well as some other content we have coming out. As such, I should have the article for the news hopefully up later today, if not at the latest then tomorrow, and I'll pin it in the comments below when it comes up. So just visit this video sometime later on if you want the detailed article version of this, both with the news and the more detailed breakdown of the ARG when we get there, along with the top 8 deck list and all that consolidated into one place. So moving on to the news itself. First, we'll quick little tidbit of news in case you guys missed it for Chronicles. If you guys are curious about the game or playing the game, what have you. An interesting thing that they announced is that the Force of Will GPs, they will have demo decks available for casters for you to go and just play to the side and all that, in case you have extra time or drop out or anything like that. So if you are at all interested in casters, that is the perfect time to try it out. And that, as far as I know, that's at all the Force of Will GPs, so that'll be kind of cool. I personally am enjoying casters. I think it's a lot of fun. We'll have a gameplay video of it actually this Friday, so look forward to that. Yeah, so next piece of news. This one was actually kind of interesting. So I'm probably going to say this wrong, but ARG Shishido, the CEO of Force of Will, actually did a post in the Force of Will TCG US page, and which was pretty cool. It's the first time he's ever posted in there, and it's nice having direct contact with the CEO himself. He said they'll be doing more frequent updates like this, maybe not him directly, but the company in general, either on the Facebook page, the Force of Will page, or the website, just different forms to keep up the communication, which is nice to finally get that, because we, like I had mentioned before, both on the podcast and other things, is they had mentioned they're going to do more communication, and then we just hadn't heard anything since then, and since then we had gotten sealed GPs and all this crazy stuff without knowing why. So, like I said, he said that they want to communicate more. He said that they were using a limited format for the GPs because Rhea Cluster, he said, is built for it, and they said they had a lot of fun with it at Worlds. So that's what I figured, is they had done it at Worlds and they felt like they wanted to do it more, especially since Rhea Cluster is built for it. However, the problem with that is, one, I felt like Rhea Cluster was more built for drafting, not sealed, which they're doing sealed. And if you guys aren't too familiar, sealed is when you just get 6 packs and you just keep those and you unwrap them and make a deck out of the cards. Draft is when you get 4 packs, open it, pick a card, pass it to your left, and so on and so forth till the pack is gone. So draft is definitely feels and is more strategic, among other things. But another thing, as weird to say, is he said that people really like the Worlds using it there, and whether you like it was there or not, it definitely didn't felt like it was a universally liked thing. It definitely felt like pretty split down the middle of people who enjoyed it and people who didn't. I felt it was fine in that context just because it was half and half. It wasn't all draft, it was constructed and then draft, so it sort of really, especially for Worlds, tested people's skills. So I like that, especially for Worlds. For just regular GPs though, not only do I feel it makes less sense, but it makes less sense for it to be the sole format, and then it makes even less sense for that sole format to be sealed instead of draft. So I'd be curious if he was able to answer that, but he will be being interviewed by DMO73 at one of the GPs. So DMO73 had made a post in the US group if people had questions that he felt should be addressed to the CEO. So hopefully some of these concerns will be addressed. Speaking of which, the CEO did say he will be at the Atlanta GP. So he said while he's there, he's heard the concerns about the formats for the GP. So he'll be listening to people's thoughts and concerns at the Atlanta GP. So if you go into that, that'll be kind of cool. You'll be able to meet the CEO of Force of Will possibly. And that's where DMO73 will interview him, and we'll possibly have our concerns heard there. So hopefully we'll get something out of that. He'll also be attending ARG Richmond, so if you're going there as well, you also might possibly have a chance to meet him. So just some cool little tidbits. And a lot of people are asking questions in the comments of that post. So I recommend going to the post if you can and looking through the comments. If you're not in the US group or anything like that, I will have the cutout of his official statement on the article when I post that. I won't post the comment section though, because that's 100+ comments. But one thing he did, someone did ask about Architects and whether it was canceled or postponed or what have you. And I'm pretty sure that it was canceled or postponed until like next year or something like that. But he did say that he will bring info about that at some point soon. So hopefully we'll hear about Architects soon, because I was actually pretty curious about that. Moving on to the ARG. So the ARG happened this past weekend. It was a little bit smaller one, only 18 people attended. And from what we've heard, only one IU deck was there. I haven't been able to confirm that, unfortunately. It's really hard finding deck ruler breakdowns for these ARGs. I didn't try for this one because it was only 18 people. For the last ARG though, I tried contacting several people and never got a deck list ruler breakdown. And for this one, they never released it. A couple people asked about it, but nothing was revealed for it. So I'm not quite sure why they don't do ruler breakdowns for ARGs, but I've tried my best. But the top 8, so going in order, first place was Evil Tree, second place was Fairer, third place was Fairer, fourth place was Fair, fifth place was another Evil Tree, sixth place was Lumia, and then 7th and 8th were also Fairers. So the 7th and 8th place, if I remember correctly, are sort of your standard Fairer decks. The other ones sort of vary on the types of it, which was kind of interesting to see different takes on the Fairer decks. If you want sort of our thoughts on it, Joey and I talked about it a little bit more in depth on our thoughts on the actual decks and the deck lists in our podcast. Like I said, the deck list will be in the article as well if you're curious on the exact cards and all that in there. But a little disappointed to see the showing of 5 Fairers in the top 8. And I was expecting to see IUs. We had talked briefly in the podcast about whether there wasn't a showing of IU just because there was only one there, if people were running it but weren't necessarily good at it, or if it was because people are locked out of it, because I checked and it's pretty much out of stock everywhere. I couldn't find anywhere to buy it, and if you could find somewhere to buy it, the lowest I've seen it was $45, and it just goes up from there depending on where you're buying it from. So it could people are just locked out of getting the card, either financially or just straight up finding it. So that could be why we also saw a smaller showing of, or no showing of IU in the top 8. So I'm hoping that the next official event will have a more diverse crowd. But like I said, this was only 18 people, so literally we're only seeing top 8, and 10 people aren't in the top 8, so it's not that big of a indicative of the format. But yeah, so that's the main pieces of news. Like I said, we'll have hopefully my computer situation will be fixed by next week, but the article will be up later today. And we'll have a gameplay tomorrow for Force of Will, gameplay for casters the day after, and our new schedule, or hopefully our new schedule, now that we're all sorted out, will be Mondays will be a Force of Will gameplay, Tuesday will be our podcast, Wednesday will be the news here, Thursday will be Joey's Eternal gameplay or some other type of video if he doesn't have Eternal go up, and then Friday will be casters gameplay. And then Saturday and Sunday will be sort of experimental themes that we have coming up in the works. Possibly. We talked briefly about it, I think, on our Patreon. But so we'll see. We have some cool stuff coming out. But that should be our set schedule every week. So you can look forward to those videos. And then everything else will just be fluff on that. So thanks, you guys. And we'll see you guys next time.